Yo, what's going on, guys? So I'm going to do a video covering some hardpoint tips. So I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of how to play hardpoint in this game. It feels a lot more similar to Black Ops 2, so it was a little bit easier for me to pick up on. And that was pretty much all I played for Black Ops 2, and I was really enjoying it when I was playing League play, so it was just one of my favorite game modes. And in Black Ops 4, it's definitely my favorite. And I think I covered it a little bit in my Level Up Fast video, but I'm going to go more in depth on certain topics such as juggling the hardpoint, spawn locations of the hardpoint, where you will be spawning, where enemies will be spawning based on where your team is at in the hardpoint, if you guys are holding it down, things like that. So my score per minute right now is 678, which is pretty insane in my opinion. My score per minute for Black Ops 2 was like 400 at max. I think it was between 300 to 400 at max on hardpoint. So to have almost a 700 score per minute with a lot of playtime is actually pretty insane for me. And I do think that I have hardpoint down pretty well for this game. I have all the rotations down on the maps, and I want to share some stuff with you guys that will hopefully help you out. So we're going to put a gameplay up that I just got. It's 104 kills and 13 deaths on firing range. It was a hardpoint match that I just got right before I started recording this video, and it was one of the reasons why I actually decided to make this video. So I hope you guys enjoy the gameplay, and we're going to get into the tips right now. So in my opinion, one of the biggest things about playing hardpoint is learning the spawn points. It's a little bit different than playing domination, and it's a little bit different from playing TDM in the fact that every 60 seconds the spawn points will change, sometimes just a little bit, but a lot of times very dramatically, depending on how big the map is and where the points are at on the map. So picking up on spawn points based on where the hard point is at and where your teammates are at is something that is very huge, and it will save your life countless times, and it will allow you to win a little bit more consistently, and gunfights won't be such an ambush, because a lot of times in hardpoint what happens is you're holding it down, or you and a teammate are holding it down, and then 3 or 4 people rush that hardpoint, and by that time, you know, the enemy team has already got good spawn, they have flipped the spawns on you, and they have the hardpoint secured, and now you're spawning out. So it's one of those things that I think is very, very big to pick up on, but it just takes a lot of playtime in order to get it down correctly. I understand it's not like super easy to pick up on where people will be spawning at, but if you get it down early enough in the game, it will help your gameplay out tremendously. So the next thing is going to be class and killstreak choice. So in my opinion, choosing a class that is high in mobility will be extremely beneficial, and there's a lot of close range gunfights in hardpoint because obviously most of the hardpoints are going to be in buildings or small little points on the map. So having that close range ability to take out enemies is going to be extremely beneficial for you. And if you're running something with a slow fire rate or trying to snipe close range consistently, you probably won't see the same results as if you were using something that's better for close range. So things like SMGs and fast firing ARs like the Maddox or the KN are both really good choices in my opinion. Obviously LMGs work. LMGs are extremely powerful in this game for some reason, which is nice. Actually, it's a nice change, but in my opinion, I think running things with high mobility like the KN or the Maddox or even the Hades has such high mobility for an LMG that you can definitely use it in hardpoint, and I have done it for a while actually. And the next thing is going to be kill streaks. So kill streaks in this game are pretty crucial. They really change the way the game goes for hardpoint a lot of the times. If an attack chopper stays in the air for too long, you're going to be down by 50 to 100 points easily, and strike teams are extremely powerful. Things like lightning strikes and hellstorms are even extremely crucial for maps like slums or any map where the points are sort of out in the open. When I think of slums, I think of that first hard point. There's always 4 or 5 people sitting in the middle of it for some reason, so it allows you to sort of wipe all of them out and take over the hard point and sort of change the way the game is going pretty consistently. And I think that running your kill streaks correctly, if you're able to get those higher streaks like hellstorms and lightning strikes and attack choppers and threshers and stuff like that, I say do it. It's one of those game modes where I think also running support is extremely helpful, like I have made a video about before, but if you're able to get those higher kill streaks, I do think that it's a good choice to try to run them, because if you get them and you're down by a little bit, they can really change the way the game is going completely. And this also sort of coincides with the specialists. The choice of specialists in this game mode is sort of up to you, honestly. I know I was saying, you know, Crash is the best for XP, which is true in my opinion, but for hardpoint, if you're trying to clear the objectives, I think characters like Battery, I'm not even going to say Ajax, we don't talk about Ajax on this channel by the way, Firebreak, and even Recon, if you're able to sort of see where the people are located at on the hardpoint, is going to be extremely beneficial for you. Basically, all the AoE specialists are extremely powerful for Hardpoint. I think Battery is one of the most used ones for Hardpoint just because of her cluster grenades and her war machine. It's just so devastating in the Hardpoint. So choosing a specialist that has AoE abilities is going to be extremely beneficial for you, and I think it's a really good choice if you do decide to run an assault specialist. So the next thing that I want to cover is going to be the hardpoint locations as well as the rotations of those hardpoints. So for the most part, pretty much every map is sort of the same layout for the hardpoints. It starts off in the middle, then goes back into one side of the spawns, and then on the opposite side of the map for the next point, and then a little bit more back in the middle, and then back to the original point. That's pretty much the set rotation for pretty much all of the map. But it sort of takes a little bit of time to sort of figure out which one comes first, which one comes next, you know, stuff like that. It just takes really just playtime and constantly playing every map in order to sort of get it down. It probably took me about a day or two of actual in-game time to get it like locked down pretty well. I know pretty much all the rotations on all the maps, and I have it down like the back of my hand now, so it really is one of those things that you just have to keep on playing and keep on like picking up on those small things. The rotations really are fairly simple. I'm glad they're not random. I think there was one game where they were set on a random pattern, and it was awful. It was just not fun. There was just so much luck put into it, you know. You never knew what was going to come next. So it's nice that in this game it's at least set on a set rotation that you can learn and it won't change. The next thing that I want to cover is going to sort of coincide with the hardpoint locations and the rotations of them, and it's going to be giving up on hardpoints when a team actually has it locked down too well for you to break it. So this is something that I had to learn in Black Ops 2. It was when to just give up on the point and move on to the next one, and it's usually around that 15 to 20 second mark when you should just stop trying to push if you haven't gotten the objective. If you just keep getting killed off the point and they have it locked down too well, just give up and go to the next one and hold that one down, because what happens when you keep pushing an objective that you only have 15 to 20 seconds left on is you will end up just feeding them score if they hold you off, and if you do end up capping it, you're only going to get maybe 5 to 10 seconds on that point. Instead of just giving it up, you're giving them the good spawn by wiping them off of the old hard point. You're giving them the new hard point spawn because of how the timer works and how the spawns work on a hard point. So one of the things that you should sort of try to pick up on is when to just give up on a point, move on, let the enemy team hold it, and if you can't break the point, just it's one of those things. It's hard to do, but you have to just give up and move on to the next one, because if you don't, all you're really doing is feeding them score, giving them good spawn, and allowing them to just continue on running train, and then you have to go and try to break the next point. So a big thing about playing hardpoint is that you need to know how to break hardpoints efficiently, and this sort of is a culmination of all the things that I've talked about so far. So learning when to give up a hardpoint, hardpoint locations and the rotations, the killstreak choices, class choices, specialists, it all is sort of going to come back into breaking hardpoints, and as well as the last few topics that I'm going to talk about, like anchoring and juggling, it's all going to sort of coincide into one thing. So breaking hardpoints is going to be something that you need to do throughout your match 10 to 15 times a match easily, for sure, and it's one of those things that if you pick up on it early enough, you will sort of be able to grow as a player very quickly. So breaking a hardpoint with specialist abilities, which is the first thing I'm going to cover, is probably the most common and efficient way to do it. Using people like Battery or Fire Break to get people off of a hard point is something you will see a lot, and it's definitely a good way to do it, especially with how quick Battery's grenade recharges as well as Fire Break's E comes up. It's very easy to rotate through that a couple times a game and break hard points that way. But let's say you don't have your specialist ability, you already used it and they're holding on the hard point, you need to break it. A big thing is learning the certain spots that people will be hiding at in the hard point. Most people just decide to corner camp or head glitch a certain spot, and that's something that you need to pick up on. So there's certain hotspots that you can figure out just by playing the game. You will sort of see that certain people will camp in a certain corner. Very often it's one of those things that I've noticed, especially on Summit on that first point, there's always corner campers in the same corners. That's just something that you pick up on through game time again. But just sort of picking up on those small things in the map and in game, you will sort of learn a little bit quicker, like where people will be at, how you can break hardpoints more efficiently, running in with gung-ho, using your TAC 5 boost if you're crash, or using your ammo packs beforehand so that your team will sort of be with you as you push in, because breaking a hardpoint solo will work out very few times. I can do it sort of efficiently. There has been times where I have cleared whole teams off of hardpoints, but it's one of those things, it's just once in a blue moon, you know, when I get really lucky. And it's not a really smart thing to do. Pushing in as a team through different ways of entry in a hardpoint is obviously going to be giving you the best results. You can't all push in through the same door because you're just going to get eliminated very easily, but I'm sure most people already know that. But most hardpoints do have multiple entryways, so it's one of those things that is very important to learn where those entry points are going to be at, which ones are the least populated for your teammates, as well as foot traffic of the enemies, in which ways you can actually get into the hard point and start killing people and sort of get them off of it. So the next thing that I want to cover is sort of a more advanced tip. The last two tips is going to be anchoring and juggling, which are more advanced tips. So it's not really stuff for if you're really new to hardpoint, but it's something that you can sort of practice on if you eventually want to get into league play. These are two things that are really big for competitive play. So anchoring is the concept of basically holding down the spawn point for your team and making sure that you guys are getting a consistently good spawn for the hard point. And that's why it's called anchoring. It's basically holding down the spawn for your team, being the person who is responsible for making sure that nobody's coming around your flank and making sure that your team is getting the correct spawn. I think it's more used in league play and competitive play than it would be for public matches, but I still want to cover it because it is an effective tip. If maybe you're playing against a really good team or a 5-stack or something like that, and you're getting flanked constantly, holding down the spawn point as an anchor and doing that for your team will be huge, and making sure that you guys are getting consistently good spawns and that you guys aren't spawning out of the point and consistently getting flanked. It's one of those things that will take a little bit of time, obviously. Like pretty much everything that I have talked about will take some time. I know I say that pretty much for every single tip, but I don't want to, you know, mislead you guys into thinking that you guys are going to hop in here and instantly become an anchoring god. It does take a little bit of time because you do have to know the spawns, the anchoring spots, stuff like that. It's just something that will take time, and I just want to point that out for pretty much everything that I say because I don't want anyone to think I'm trying to mislead them. So the last thing that I want to cover about hardpoint is going to be juggling a hardpoint, and the concept of juggling a hardpoint allows you to rotate through your streaks and your specialist abilities and your supers insanely fast because of the high amount of score that you can get in such a short period of time. So the idea of juggling a hardpoint is basically taking a hardpoint from an enemy or taking a neutral point and then allowing the enemy to take that point from you and then going into the hardpoint again and killing the enemy and capturing the objective again. So I know that's kind of a lot, so I'm going to kind of break down what happens when that occurs. So you get 100 points for capturing a neutral objective or taking it back from an enemy. So off top, if you respawn near an objective and take it, you get that 100 score. And hopping off of the objective allows the enemy to take it, which then makes it a hostile objective, and then killing the people off the point gives you 125 or 150 score per kill that you get, and then another 100 score just for capturing the objective. So depending on how many kills you actually get on the hard point, and then capturing the objective, you could easily get 200 to 500 score very quickly and very easily. And I actually have a clip of me sort of doing this. I've done it a lot, but I don't have an actual clip of me doing it insanely well because I just always forget to clip my stuff when I'm streaming on Twitch. But I do have this, and this is sort of showing off how to do it effectively, so I'm going to throw that in here right now. But like I said, it's more of an advanced player tip. It's not something that's really new player friendly, and I wouldn't suggest doing this unless you're extremely confident that you can take the kids off of the hard point, because it's a very good way to just get killed and then lose control of the hard point and then get bad spawns and lose the match very easily. But it is something that I did want to cover because if you are confident with your gun skill, it's something that allows you to become an even stronger player just by being able to rotate through your specialist abilities and streaks insanely fast. So that's pretty much it for my hardpoint tips. I don't think I missed anything, but if you guys think I did, just let me know, or if you have any questions about hardpoint or really anything in game, just let me know and I'll respond to pretty much all the comments. So I hope you guys enjoyed and I hope this helps you. Peace out.